Thanks everybody for joining me tonight on this very, very impromptu meeting that these phenomenal ladies so graciously accepted my invite to join me to have this conversation where we'll go deeper, even outside of the pages of Shots Fired. We're going to talk about that and answer some questions. We are going to just have a conversation, girl talk. If there are any guys joining, you're included as well. So I am joined by this dynamic panel, and let's start with Cassandra Reed. She stands as a testament to unyielding faith and perseverance. Her life's journey is filled with profound highs and heartbreaking lows, and she serves as an inspiring beacon of hope. Her message is one of hope, strength, and the unwavering power of faith. Cassandra has a purpose, and it is to share her riveting tale, letting the world know that with God's grace and relentless perseverance, no obstacle is insurmountable. Mm-hmm. Her life is a powerful reminder that we are all capable of overcoming the darkest of times, and her story is one that everyone needs to hear. I would be remiss. Now, she didn't send me this, but I'm ad-libbing here, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Cassie is in remission from battling stage 2B triple negative breast cancer. And we must acknowledge that just today she received. So, Cass, tell us what you received today from your doctor.
Okay, so I had a PET scan done. I do it twice a year because I can no longer have mammograms because I chose to do a double mastectomy. So when you do that, no more mammograms. So anyway, the PET scan covers from my skull to my mid-thigh. They test all of my organs, whatever. So I am still in remission. No evidence of disease is found in my body. All tests are negative for cancer. So we 4 years and going.
And we're going to talk more with Cassie in a minute, but just so I can finish my introductions, we have Kim that's right below Cassie. Kim, or AKA Caring Kim Nelson, is a fourth generation caregiver, mindset coach, and founder of Crown to Care. It's a global kingdom movement restoring honor and identity to those who serve. As a devoted mother of a nonverbal son on the autism spectrum and a faith-filled leader with over 20 years in government, ministry, and training, she knows the sacred weight caregivers carry. Her book, Caregivers, Put on Your Own Oxygen Mask First, and her transformational programs equip caregivers with the mindset, biblical tools, and support they need to thrive. From weary to well, from overlooked to empowered, Caring Kim is redefining what it means to care and crowning caregivers with strength, dignity, and purpose along the way. I'm so proud of Kim. Kim is releasing the book very soon, and then Kim will be telling us a little bit more about her book writing journey and where she is in the process of releasing the book. So I'm so proud of you. And then last but certainly not least, we have Elaine Davis, who I call my Elaine Pooh. Elaine is here with us. She is a senior provider network consultant, and she's been with her company for 39 years. Wow. 39 years. You only look 39.
Right.
Okay, let me finish. She works for a major insurance company. She is a woman of faith. She loves the Lord, and she was born and raised in Harvey, Illinois. And Elaine is coming to us with a plethora of experience in traumas and all of the things that we women go through, the highs and lows. So she's going to have some insight on how she's overcome those things. and she's just gonna grace us with those, some encouraging and motivational words that we can use and put in our toolkit going forward. So like I said, two of these women are currently writing books, and we've had so many discussions about how important it is for them to write their stories. I have gotten Cassandra and Kim. This is not Kim's first book, but I convinced her that she needed to write a book. Cass, I've been on the forefront, her #1 fan, to get her to write her story. And I'm also trying to get Elaine to write her story. And I'm going to keep working on Elaine. But tonight, we're going to together explore what it means to write through the pain. We're going to talk about rising through resistance and reclaim our voices. We'll also, like I said, dive into any questions that you guys out there might have about Shots Fired, a Heroine's memoir. And again, you don't have to be an author to have a story. Right. You don't have to have read every page of my memoir to feel the fire. If you've watched my episode last week when I was, I'm just still so honored that Leslie had me join as a guest on her Coach's Kitchen podcast. So I offered out the first 3 chapters of my book on the website. So even if you flip through those first 3 chapters or any parts of the book, or just simply felt the energy that was coming through the screen last week when we had our discussion, this conversation is for you. Even if you haven't gotten the book, haven't touched it, don't know anything about it, again, we all share a universal human experience, and we could all relate some kind of way in either one of the that we're going to be sharing tonight. So I am so glad that everybody has joined us in this intimate conversation. It's a virtual book club experience. Last week when I was on the podcast, I felt so inspired to reignite my fire and flame for the book. As many of you know, I kind of put my book promotions on hold as I was the caregiver for my daughter, who was diagnosed last year right after the book was released. She was diagnosed with stage 3C triple negative breast cancer. And right after I had this amazing book launch party, and just got on the bandwagon, setting up interviews and things like that to promote the book, I dropped everything so that I could do whatever it took to support and care for Marcy. So now I'm back and going back into trying to promote the book again. So this is considered a relaunch, considered as a virtual book release or launch book club party. So I'm going to be doing a lot of virtual appearances and then having my own appearances and try to get this book right back to the forefront, because I think that even though it's my story, it is a very critical story to get in the hands of anybody who I can reach in order to read my story of resilience, transformation, and just being strong through the traumas and fighting on the forefront, to have it on the battlefield, and learning to overcome those things and end up staying strong. So when I'm rising, I want everybody to rise with me. So that's just what I'm on now. You come along with me. Don't leave me out here by myself, because we all have a story. So I want to get into some of the questions that I have. I've talked about at length about my journey and my book writing experience, and how it's hard to write through some of the trauma, some of the things that we have to talk about and relive. It's hard to write through those things. You can think about it, but sometimes things have been so suppressed for so long that we we don't even remember a lot of things until we're writing about it. So I want Kim to talk about the process of, your journey, your writing journey, and what it's like to go through writing your story, and what are some of the obstacles that you've overcome in the process of writing your book.
Well, thank you so much, Tracy. Appreciate you. Number one, thank you so much for the invite. You are thebomb.com. You already know that. Your beautiful face, your beautiful spirit. I appreciate you, my sister. This is just so awesome. I don't care how last minute notice it was. It's just divinely orchestrated. And so I just appreciate you for your yes and being vulnerable so that you could just reach out to people at the last minute, but yet know that you've got the right people in the seats on the bus. Okay.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. And so for me, writing the book, the process and the challenges, and I do mean the challenges. I mean, Tracy, when I think about the challenges, is nothing compared to what I've seen you go through. And so having seen some of your behind the scenes struggle, it prepared me to be able to lean into the process for me, because your process is yours, but mine is mine. And so, different strokes for different folks, but I appreciate the transparency. I appreciate the way that you have modeled how to do this thing, because if it was easy, more people would do it. It's not easy. It's not easy. And so for me, my process is, number one, the name of my book is Caregivers, Put on Your Own Oxygen Mask First. For those of you who are familiar with the life of caregivers, it is not an easy role. It's not an easy role. And so my purpose and my call is to be able to empower caregivers to see what they do. Number one, see who they are. Not the way the world says it, but as who the one created them says. Okay. And then number two, the role, as not the way the world sees it, because the world says that they're the lowest on the totem pole. They feel like they're the forgotten ones. They are the unsung heroes. But I say, now, number one, a real good book says that they are the greatest. He who serves is greatest among you. Okay. So those caregivers, my job is really to help them to see their role based on who, and I'm gonna call his name because I feel like this is a safe place to call the name of Jesus. They are the greatest because they serve. They're the ones that hold society together, but they often neglect themselves. And so me being a caregiver myself, I'm the mother of 3 children, but my youngest child, Jakari, he is on the autism spectrum, and he's nonverbal, and he has epilepsy. And so as a result, his care is required 24/7. And you guys, all I can tell you is that I never knew love like this before. Life didn't happen to me having a child with autism. Life happened for me because there are places in my heart I never knew existed when it comes to the depth of love and care that I could provide and that I could model for others, because it's my mindset. And that's basically the core of what I teach others. How you see a thing. Scholars say the way you see a thing and the way you perceive it is worth 50 IQ points. So perception is worth 50 IQ points. Okay.
That's so good. That's good. Yeah. So going through your journey of caregiving for your son, is this the main thing that inspired you to write about it? Like, we all know that we have gone through things, but writing about it is a different story. Yeah. So what in the process of you going through caring for your son 24/7 inspired you and put that fire in you to say, I need to write a book. I need to talk about this. I need to tell the world what I'm going through. What was that thing?
Well, to be honest, be very honest with you, you looked me in my eyes in April of last year and said to me, Kim, you've got to do it now. This book was not in my heart at the time. You planted the seed. And I read in a book also, I read a lot. And so in that book, it says, one plants and others water. Yep. One thing for sure is that the seed has to come through the soil eventually. And so that's really how I came to writing a book. I saw a very vivid vision, Tracy, of people in water waving for help, waving for help. And in that vision, I believe that those were caregivers screaming for help. And so I began to develop what I thought was going to be something specifically for the autism community. But if you know anything about him, you know that he only gives you a little bit of it, a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. And so as a result, long story short, I got to understand that caregivers was where I was to start this with. And so that's where I'm starting. And that is helping them to understand that self-care is not selfish.
Right.
It's necessary.
Yes.
It's necessary. And
For sure.
yes.
For sure.
Definitely.
That makes me so emotional because even last year at the party, the book release party, I was very intentional, which I am about everything I do. It's a rhyme and a reason for what I do.
Yeah.
And on the centerpieces at the party, stacks of books. And I tried to reach and give to whoever I could a book to take as a gift. But in the book it's a book and it was just empty pages.
Blank. Yep, blank page.
It's a big, huge book, but it just had blank pages in there. And that was intentional because everybody has a story. We just had a brief conversation. And everybody who I talk to, I try to get them to, and people will say, I don't have nothing to say. Nobody want to hear what I have to say. We all have a story and we need to start writing. And even if there's no intention of publishing the book and getting the book out there and in the greater, the broader audiences, we still need to write a book. If we stop for 1 second and think about this, what if our moms and grandmothers had a book that we could read through their stories?
Game changer.
We didn't talk about these. We didn't talk about this stuff. We didn't talk about deep rooted issues and our
game changer. It would be a game changer if we would have had.
So I felt like the best gift that I could leave my children and my grandchildren and
me too. I got chills.
and children to come after that is to write my story. So everybody needs to be inspired or motivated or encouraged to write their story. So that was the purpose of that. And I remember saying to you, Kim, you have a story and you had written a book prior to this book.
Yes.
So you already had it in you. And I know we feel like I don't have the energy, I'm tired, and all of the things, all of the excuses that we could come up with. But it starts with like just a journal. What made me smile today? What made me happy today? And then writing those things down. And before you know it, sometimes it could turn into a 2-3 page. Because sometimes writing is, not sometimes, but anytime we could put
therapeutic.
It's very therapeutic. Very therapeutic. And one more thing that I want to mention that I heard you say, Kim, is the hands waving in the water. There are certain signs we get. The Holy Spirit sitting on my shoulder telling me, before you finish this book, you're going to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. And us saying, writing those signs off, writing those signs off.
As if we really can.
Like, come on now.
Yeah.
But you know what? The beauty of this work that you're doing, Kim, is that you listen. You listen to the call and you decided, I'm going to be obedient. Because those hands waving in that water was not a coincidence, and it didn't happen by accident. And you didn't look away when you saw that vision, and you followed and you obeyed. And that's how I know that this book is going to be such an amazing work of art. So thank you so much for sharing your story.
That's my line. Thank you, Tracy.
Thank
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. One of the things that I wanted to just share, in addition to that, is that I really feel like when we don't write our story, we do ourselves a disservice, because what we go through is not just for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, it's not just for us. And so our misery can become our mission or our ministry. Yeah. And there are people that need someone to be vulnerable, like you were in your book, Tracy, to be transparent like you were, and have courage and be able to tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, right? The good, the bad, the ugly, to be able to do that and be okay with people seeing what went on behind the scenes. Because when I was coming up, you didn't talk about what was going on in your family.
That's right.
You better not talk about what's going on in your family.
Right.
So we are in a new day, and there are no new tricks. Okay, there are no new tricks. The adversary don't have
nothing new under the sun.
Nothing new under the sun. And so what I really feel, Tracy, is that what you've started is really a movement. It's a movement. I love what we said yesterday when we were on the phone. We were talking, and I told you that the language of the beach is competition, but the language of the deep is collaboration.
Yeah.
And
I love that.
Now, that's money right there. You need to coin that.
I love that.
I love that.
I love that.
Put that in a book.
Yeah, thank you so much. But you know, it's like
first page. First law.
Yes. And Kim, you said it best, because somebody told me, if you're not ready to be truthful and honest when writing a book, you ain't ready to write a book.
That's right.
And it's some ugly stuff.
Oh my God.
Oh, there are things in my book that I swore I would take to my grave.
Me too.
But all the feelings, all the emotions, all of them repeatedly. Yes.
When you come to terms with the fact that I'm human, you know, we're all, you judge me, talk about me, say whatever you want, but I have no regrets. If I had to go back and live my life all over again,
I do it all over again.
The same path, and because it's a path that God had already laid out for you.
Absolutely.
And sometimes we try to go off the path, and you just end up being redirected because it's already laid out for us.
I definitely did try to go off the path several times.
Go off the
Didn't we all?
Because I'm not doing that. But you know what? My life is my life. And like I said, there are so many things in the book, period. I think I could have written 4 books out of my one book, but all I wanted was just one book.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know what the future holds about another book. I don't think I have it in me, but my path might include writing another book. If God says you're gonna write another book, then
that's right.
I'm gonna write another book. But in this time, I'm gonna focus on now Cassie's book, and I'm gonna ask you the same questions that I asked Kim. So I want to hear about the obstacles, because I know, Cass, oh my goodness, I know your story. So just a little bit of a backstory. Cass is a client of mine, and every single client that I have, maybe not every single client, but my skincare sessions end up becoming girl time for me. I'm closed up in this little bitty room all day. And when my clients come in for their services, it's almost, and everybody knows I love to talk. But sometimes when I'm not sometimes, but when I'm doing facials, that's quiet time. So it's a time where when I get behind my client's head, I don't talk, because that's your self-care time.
Yeah.
And it's for me to be quiet. And then even if my client is talking, I try not to talk too much, because once I slow down my talking, then the clients tend to get way more relaxed and they end up falling asleep. And that's exactly what I want. We can always talk. But self-care, that little short period of time of your self-care is your time. So Cass is one of those. I don't think Cass ever has gone to sleep. Have you?
Never.
Yeah.
Never.
Okay, so tell me about your book. Tell me about, I want to hear about the obstacles, and I want to hear about, like and that's why I wanted you on this show, on this
Hmm.
so bad, because we have so many things in common, and
Yes,
so
we do.
just our stories are very, very similar. So let's
Hmm.
get to it. Let's get to it, because I want to hear it. I'm excited about hearing your journey and any obstacles you've run into.
Okay, so first, like Kim said, thank you, Tracy, for including me, inviting me. I know it was divine because I had been in my prayer life talking to God about this process and getting further in it and needing the people to help me. And I mean, you're definitely a vessel, and I appreciate your obedience. You listening to God and doing His will, and inviting us, because this is beautiful. My book is called Making Faith Moves No Matter What. It is a memoir of survival, strength, and unshakable faith.
Yeah.
So I put the book in 3 parts. But first, let me say this. I had been told that I needed to write a book a long time ago. And I kept saying, I haven't done anything that anyone else haven't done. Like, what makes me special? So I kept throwing it off. Writing is my first love, but I chose to major in accounting. That's me running away because I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do
writing
it. No, like I wrote, but I hid it. I hid it.
Oh.
Like I write poetry, short stories, all of the things. But I decided to be an accountant instead of writing. So my story begins with me talking about me being sexually abused as a child, and then as a teenager, and things of that nature. Me giving birth to identical twin boys when I was 22 years old. They were born at 26 weeks, 1 pound, 10 ounces, and 2 pounds, 3 ounces. My babies, one of them was born with a blood spot on his brain, so he had brain damage. Both of them have learning disabilities, so I understand Kim, and one of them has epilepsy. So that was my story when I was in college trying to get this degree at Grambling State University, 1,000 miles away from home, and got pregnant with the twins. First pregnancy, 2 babies. And after they turned 1, and I got the good notice back from the doctor, from the pediatrician, I took them back to Grambling to finish college. Yeah. So I graduated college with my 2 babies. They were just 3. Yeah. And I started my career immediately after. I interviewed with the U.S. Department of Treasury right after I graduated, got the job, been there ever since, 24 years there. So I talk about the degree journey, the me raising my children with the learning disabilities, me advocating for my children, my little Black boys, making sure they had all the care that they were supposed to get in school and in the hospitals, seeing how their medicine was affecting their behaviors. It's a whole thing. So that's a journey. My degree is a journey, and then the cancer journey. So I split it up into 3 parts to show in each instance the will of God and the faith. Not just believing in it, as faith without works is dead. So I couldn't just have faith. Right. I had to do the work. So that's what I like to talk about. I didn't just say, Lord, I want this degree. I want to be a first-generation college graduate. No, I did it. I took them boys in the car with me 12 hours to Grambling and got the degree. And that's how I felt when cancer came to me. I knew it was a challenge, but I knew mind over matter. I saw my babies fight to be here at 1 pound, 10 ounces, and 2 pounds, 3 ounces. So I said, okay, well, the devil, we going to war. And that's what happened. So like you asked Tracy about this journey, it took a lot of therapy. It took a lot of therapy for me to get this story out. For me to go back and rescue the little Cassandra that I abandoned when I was abused and never, stood up for her. I had to go back and I had to rectify the things. It was a lot. It was a lot to do.
When did you realize, because that's a similarity that I have, my self started fire and blamed my own self in everything bad that happened to me after starting the fire. I felt like, you
deserve it. It was your fault. You don't feel. Yeah.
How did you realize that you were unkind to your younger self?
Because I didn't stand up for her. I protected everybody else around me, but I never protected me. I kind of justified and made kind of considerations for others, and I didn't give that same grace to me.
So that people,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I wasn't there to defend myself. I ran, fight or flight, right? So I left the little girl and abandoned her and just went on. And the same thing as a teenager, when it happened to me again, I did not stand in it. You know, I ran from it by trying to excel in everything to hide the dirtiness that I felt. So I became an overachiever and all of the things.
Yeah. Which part of your journey was the hardest to write about?
That definitely the sexual assault. I think, well, I don't know, because I say that, but then I think about the cancer because when I went through it, I feel like I equated to being in a coma. I felt like God had protected me and put me in a coma while I was going through everything that I went through. I wasn't really conscious of it. I just was moving. I had chemo. I just did my chemo, 13 rounds of chemo. Let's go. Then immediately after, do the surgery, double mastectomy. Let's do it. Immediately after that, radiation, 25 rounds. Let's go. Chemo left me with a blood clot on my heart. Stayed there for 7 months. I just went to that surgery. So each time I was doing it, I wasn't conscious of what I was doing until I was finished. When I finished everything, yeah, I was on autopilot. I could not, my mind couldn't fathom that. So when I was done though, I felt the weight of it, and I still do. Some days I'm like, oh my God. Like at one point I couldn't even walk. The chemo had my legs so weak. We got to the place, my husband got to the chemo center, and I said, you got to get a wheelchair. My legs don't work. Like, but going through the whole thing, I smiled the whole time. Like people were like, are you okay? It's good. I smiled the whole time. That's why I say God had me in a coma. He had me in a special place. I did not feel the weight of it.
He did, because Cassie would come for her facials right after chemo. And I'm like, what are you? And I'm thinking, Cassie, don't you want to cancel and reschedule? She's like, no.
No.
She would come
with this.
She had the port in her neck that I had to manipulate to move around. And Cassie, and I could not believe that, going through that journey, and you would come. I mean, I don't mean the next day after her chemo appointment. I mean directly after the chemo treatments that you were having about an hour and a half away from where we live. We
about 2 hours. It's in Zion, Illinois. That's where I was at today.
So, Cass, you just unstoppable. I'm not gonna let this cancer stop me.
Yeah. Jeremiah 29:11 stayed in my spirit the whole time.
Yes.
Come on now.
That's for me. Yes.
Jeremiah 29:11 stayed in my spirit the whole time. Just like I'm going to get that degree, Philippians 4:13 stayed in my spirit the whole time. I just kept saying
all things. You can
Right. Strengthens me. Yes.
That's right.
So you can't really say what the hardest part of writing your book was. You just, they were equally challenging.
They were. That's what I was going to ask you. The same thing. Like, at what point did you have to stop and like, oh, this is too much. I got to put it down. Like, at what point did it break you down? Because it breaks you down. And did you have to use any form of therapy? And like, what did you have to do to get through it?
I did have to go to therapy right in the end of writing my book. I had several sessions with an amazing therapist. And the one very challenging part of my writing was it's a part where a lot of physical things happened to me. I was shot, and physically, that physical pain, losing vision in my
I cried on that part, reading that part. I cried for little Tracy.
Yes, 7 surgeries, and with each visit to the doctor, wondering, am I going to get my vision back? Am I going to be pretty again? Am I going to, and all of these things that you think about as a 14-year-old, but those things were not as hard to write about as it was for me writing about the part where my ex-husband abandoned our children. It's
we have that in common too.
because of how I feel about my children, and I know who they are today, and to to love my children unconditionally,
Yes.
and to no matter what they ever do, I could never love my children any less.
That's right.
I could never walk out and abandon them. Absolutely. And I could never understand how a person
Me neither.
could walk this earth and have offspring or children that they don't have any contact with or anything to do with. That you want to puncture my heart? You hurt my children.
Yeah.
I can take all of the physical blows in the world, but when you hurt my children or when my children hurt,
that's right.
I'm fighting.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. Same. Look, my great grandmother say, "You going back to college, but you not taking these twins." I say, "Great grandma, these my babies. They going with me." Yes. Like, there's no way I could be without my children.
And that was us. Like when I was when I had 3 children that I was raising single-handedly, and I went back to college. I started college. Yeah. Marcy started high school. And I said, how is it that I can convince my children to go to college if I don't have a college degree? Yeah. And when Marcy started high school, I started college. When Marcy graduated high school, I was graduating with my undergrad degree.
Yes. Amen.
And so that way, your kids say, we talk about those generational things that our parents used to say to us that sticks with us. But I'm like, my kids will never be able to say, well, you don't have a college degree.
That's right.
I don't have to have a college degree.
That's right.
You don't do anything that'll arm your kids to use something against you.
That's right. No, I believed in it. Do as I say and as I do. I'm a do it.
That's right. So it's that thing that that
very
was
inspirational, Tracy. Very inspirational.
Thank you. And I like I say, it's a story that, again, we all have to overcome things. The ebb and flow of life, that post, that if there is no post, we flatline. So what's the alternative? We die?
That's right.
There are things everybody's going through, but we always got to have that coping mechanism, or it is important for us to tell our stories, like you said, because Kim, it's doing a disservice. And, we tell our stories to inspire and encourage others to tell their stories. So we do it because if my book helps one person to overcome an adversity and it helps someone to have a different outlook on life, yes. And my job is done. All of that hard work, blood, sweat, and tears went into writing this book. Blood, sweat, and tears went into my life before I wrote the book. And the same splatters of blood, sweat, and tears you see on the book. On the book, I have the little blood. Cassie, thank you so much for sharing that. I think that we got to come back on because
we do. This wasn't enough time. We need more time.
I can't get all up into it because there are so many things about your story that I want to talk about. So we gonna definitely figure something out.
Yeah, I like it.
Being vulnerable and talking about, because SA, sexual abuse, and anything like that is really difficult to talk about.
Yes, it is.
All the things that I've gone through.
Yeah.
It's not one of those things. And it's unimaginable to me. And it's something that I just cannot relate to. But even though I can't relate because it's never happened to me,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't mean I don't understand
Right.
the trauma
'Cause
that
it's
goes
trauma.
along with having to go through that type of experience.
Yes.
And then
It
what happens
stays with you.
after that for you
Mm-hmm.
is the most amazing story that I've ever heard in my life. So thank you,
God.
Kat.
Thank
Let's
you.
talk to my Elaine Pooh.
Thank you. Yes.
Come
Elaine.
on, Elaine Pooh, save the best
I was
for
just gonna
last.
say
Come
she
on
gonna have
through,
me
girl.
calling you Elaine Pooh too.
Elaine.
Well, I want to first of all say thank you to Tracy. Thank you, Tracy, my beautiful Trey. I thank you so much. When we talk, she brings things out and she makes you feel so comfortable about talking about them.
Yes, she
So I
does.
want to thank you for the invite and wanting me to come on and allowing me and listening to my story and just saying, hey, your story can help someone. And just to sum it up, my story, I grew up in Harvey. My mother was murdered in front of my sister and I by my stepdad. So when, I hear people say, oh, I have a trauma, and it may be something like, oh, like my daughter said, Mama, my trauma is you wouldn't let me get dirty when I was growing up.
Right. These
And
kids
I
don't.
yeah, I stared at her for like 5 minutes. I was like, get dirty. I said, girl, let me tell you about what trauma is. I said, trauma is I watched my mother take her last breath at age 9.
My
I
God.
said, and to come through that and to go through court, missing the 3rd grade, going through court in a trial and looking a man in the face that as a little girl that murdered your mom, I said, and your sister goes into shock, so she can't talk about it. So I had to do it. So I've always built a wall around myself to protect myself from anything, anybody that I felt like was trying to harm me or I felt unsafe with. So I would protect myself with building a wall and say, hey, I'm not going to deal with that person. I'm not going to say anything to them. I'm just going to walk away. So, and then being married young, going through a divorce very young, raising 2 daughters, I don't regret getting married young because
Hold
I
on,
was just
hold
so,
on, Elaine. Hold on, Elaine.
okay.
That was so heavy.
Yeah.
Can't just keep going.
I
Pause for
know.
a minute.
Like we need a
Pause.
minute, Elaine.
Elaine,
Sorry.
Elaine, give me a minute because Elaine,
Whew, Elaine.
how do you get that image out of your head? How do you your sister, she's older or younger?
She's older.
And then
She's
she
older.
went mute.
Went mute. Went into
The pain
shock.
was too much. Yeah.
And
Did she-
even
did
now,
she
because
state that, like, how did she come around and start speaking
she
eventually?
did, but when we were going to court,
Trial.
Markham Court, to the trial, they did an evaluation and they said this younger one is stronger than this older one. They said this younger one can tell us exactly what happened to get justice for their mom. So everybody put the weight on me to do it. And it was like they protected my sister and said, hey, you're the stronger one, now you're going to do this because we got to get him, he's got to go to jail. So I said, okay, I'll do it.
You were
as a
how
little
old?
girl.
9? Did you
I
say you
was
were 9?
9. So I will never get that image out of my head. You just learn how to deal with it, if that makes sense. So
Yeah, you suppress it. You suppress, like I talk
Right.
about suppression. You suppress it, and then when it's time to talk about it, like even now,
right.
it's hard to talk about our traumas. But
Yes.
like, did you ever go to therapy and talk through it, or how did you like today from then to this point? What was your healing process?
Yeah.
When I got grown, I went to therapy because when you're a kid and you're raised by down south people, what goes on in our house stays in here. The therapist can't work. We're gonna pray about this. Get the Bible. We're gonna pray. So I was raised by my grandparents, my mother's parents, and they didn't think therapy. Why? No, we ain't doing no therapy. we're gonna help these people by praying, you know. So
That
once I
happened
got
to your mom. You had to move to Mississippi.
no, my grandparents were from Mississippi. They were already here, you know, they migrated here, but you know,
Yes.
they still had
Yes.
southern roots. So, and they were still in Harvey too. So we went from my mom's house to my grandparents' house, and my grandparents raised us. So, and my grandmother would cry every day because she said, will I live long enough to raise these girls? You know, and she ended up living until she was 94. So
Wow.
my grandmother's been dead about
praise
10
God.
years. So
She
she
had
would
to.
say that again.
She had to.
She had a
Yes.
greater purpose.
And
Yeah.
that's what she said. She said, but she would cry. She said, when she would see us walking to the bus stop, she would say, Lord, let me live long enough to raise these kids because they already lost their mother. I don't want them to lose me too. So growing up, I had a good childhood as far as growing up, being given love, but I always felt like I had to protect my sister because of what happened, and she wasn't strong. So, and I feel like everybody put the weight on me to always do that.
Yeah. And then
So,
how did those things, you know, how did they translate into your adulthood? Like as a mom?
good question. They translated into my adulthood because it was always just me and my two girls, my two daughters. And I was overprotective and I was very stern. And I think I was that way because I was so overprotective and I didn't know any other way of how
Yeah.
to, you know, be soft because I was told I had to be strong and hard
Yes.
all the time.
Yes.
So, and I was very stern because of that reason. And
Too.
I would tell them, I hope you, once they got grown, I apologized. I said,
Yeah,
if
me
I
too.
yelled too much, if I did anything to make you all feel like you were, you know, I was angry and that I wasn't nice, I said, I apologize. I said, but you must know my story.
Yeah.
And when you said that, you would write your story so your kids can read it. That resonated with me because that's something that I would tell them. If you knew my story, you would understand why I was like that when you all were growing up. And as Tracy said, how do you get that image out your head? You never do, because it can surface at any time. You know, if you get angry or you feel like someone is doing something to you unfairly, like on my job, you know, or home or something like that with my husband or my family or whatever, I get angry, very angry. And they said, oh, she gets so angry. But as when I got grown, I went to therapy. I learned how to deal with it because I'll never get over it. So I learned how to deal with it. And then when people see me, they, you know, and I'll say, they're saying, oh, she thinks she's this or she thinks she's that. I said, if they knew my story, they couldn't walk a day in my shoes. So I always tell people, don't judge a person when you see that outer, because you don't know the journey that they had to walk, and you don't know, you know, what they've gone through. So yeah.
So Elaine, I was a yelling mama.
Yeah, I definitely was.
Yeah, I definitely was too.
You know,
I had
and
all boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think,
I didn't have
you
all
know,
boys, and I was too.
Yeah, I was putting my knee in my son's neck. You know, my son.
Yeah, me too. I did all of that.
I did that too.
I think, you know, being a single, you know, single parent, and even if you're not a single parent, like I always say, when we suppress stuff and we push it down so deep, but our traumas are never going anywhere. Right. And every time we feel that anger still festering and festering over the years, you get tired of that feeling because it's eating away at you. And until we dig deep to the root of what our traumas are and deal with them, we don't ever have to forget about them.
That's right.
But it's never going to go anywhere. It's going to be right there with you. And
that's
then
right.
triggers that's going to come up.
That's right.
Even something as simple as a smell can reach you and take you back.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
trauma point. I'll never forget when my sister was killed in a fire. I was watching the movie Swordfish with Halle Berry. Every single time I see that movie on TV to this day, I struggle to get to turn the channel because I just can't, because it just brings back those memories. Although I am on a path of trying to live my life trauma free.
Yes.
I don't even know if that's possible, but as long as I'm alive and I continue on this journey, that's going to be the goal. But when you know, and maybe next time I see Swordfish come on TV, I'll try to sit there and not struggle to find the remote to turn the channel and sit there and deal with it.
Right.
A lot of times that's how we have to deal with our traumas. We have
to sit in it.
You gotta sit in it.
In that thing that no matter how hard and tough it is to put yourself through the process of relieving yourself of the trauma, we got to do it. That's the only way it's going to move through us.
That's the truth. You got to sit in it.
You got to sit in it.
God had me there, and I was so uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable sitting in it too. God, it's so uncomfortable, but I felt like he had me isolated. Like I couldn't, I wasn't comfortable outside anywhere. I had to sit in the house like I was alone. I was like, "But why? Like, what is this I'm going through?" But that was it. I had to sit in it.
You realize that that's something that we're going to have to live with for the rest of our lives. And and Elaine, I heard you say that you told your daughters that this is my story. And you don't know why I'm angry, and I'm sorry. I apologize for this being the way that I am and who I am and being mean and all of those things. But where's the book so that they can read your story?
That's right. I knew it was coming. When you said it, I said, watch Tracy follow back up with that. I knew it was coming.
And see, what I was saying from earlier, my daughter bought me this book that said, I would like to know about my mother. And she said, yeah, she bought me that for my birthday. I want to say last year. And she said, I want you to journal this because when I would tell them, I said, if you all knew my story growing up, I said, I've shared some with you all because you asked about mom, where was your mom when they were little kids? And I said, well, I'll tell you once you get old enough to understand about death and things like that. So she bought me a book, and it's I want to know my mother.
Yeah.
She wants me to journal.
When you say, when you get old enough, you'll understand. I feel like when the kids ask, they are old enough.
Yeah. And I think I felt like they were like between the ages of 7 and 6. I said they wouldn't understand. And I felt like it would be traumatizing for them to hear that. For them to hear it. So I wouldn't tell them, wouldn't share that with them.
Elaine, I'm sitting here quietly and I'm looking at all of you, listening to all of you tell your story. But what I really want to say to you, Elaine, is that you can only give from the capacity that you have. And as a
caregiving, that's the caregiving.
You can only give from the capacity that you have. And I really just want to hug you. I mean, when you just a virtual hug from me, please, just.
Thank you. Thank you, Kim.
Hey, Kim, that's a comment I use frequently. I tell people with certain things that are out of my bounds, I don't have the capacity to deal with that. I don't. I set my boundaries.
You can't give what you don't have.
That's right.
And reserve your right to be able to say, I don't have the capacity.
Emotional intelligence is a real thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And honestly, Elaine, your story is so moving, and
it is.
Cassandra, yours as well. It's like we could go around the world telling our stories, to be honest, because people can relate to our stories.
All of them. That's right.
The truth of the matter is that the scripture tells us that the people overcame by the blood of the Lamb and by the words of their testimony.
That's right.
And the problem today is that there's so many people who don't want to give the real testimonies. They don't want to talk about that bad stuff because, I mean, my grandmother used to say, ain't nobody's business, everybody's business.
Right.
That's another thing that I do eventually want to talk about is our intergenerational curses that were put on us, that you know, we don't tell our business. What goes on in
Mhm.
this house stays in this house.
Yes.
Or
Yep.
Mhm.
down and stay in the child's place. Our
Yes.
voices were suppressed all the time.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Talk about writing a story and telling your business. That we weren't raised to
Not at all.
No.
That's it.
No.
I didn't tell a soul until I was like 22,
Yes.
23.
And
And I
then-
was sexually abused at like 5 years old. Like I didn't tell a soul.
Wow.
Even
And that's why I feel there's so many unhealed sisters
Wow.
out here.
Yes.
There are.
that's exactly
Because
why.
of
With the anger
things
that they
that
have
happen.
is about
Yes.
that. They have not
Yes.
rescued that little girl
Mhm.
inside.
Yep.
And so
That
Because
is.
yeah,
hurting people hurt
Yep.
people.
Yeah.
hurt people. That's the truth.
So on that note, ladies, it's time.
Please no. Please no.
I know. I like my new friends.
But I want us to come back together again. Like I said, I'm on a virtual book club tour. Even if that's
You're innovative. You started something.
if it's not a thing, then it's a thing. You heard it from here first.
Mm-hmm.
The movement.
Yep.
And I want to have you back. I mean, we may do a part 2 next week. I don't know, but I think that there's so much to talk about, so many layers to unpeel, and so many things that we can say and talk about that will help
I
others
agree.
be inspired to share their stories or join us on this mission that we're on to heal the world, one woman at a time. And
Yeah.
it's important, and I think it's our calling, and I think it is what we must do
Mhm.
to just give back to the greater good of the world. That's we can't keep
I
this
agree.
to ourselves.
I agree.
So thank you so much, ladies,
Thank
for
you,
joining.
ladies. This was so inspirational. This was
I loved it so
inspiring
much.
for me.
And
I
look what
needed
we
this.
did. Look what we did.
Thank you.
So Elaine, if anybody wants to get in touch with you, can the three of you tell us how we can get in touch with you guys? If anybody want to do some follow-up or
Yes.
ask some questions, and then I'm going to find out if anybody has any questions online in the meantime.
I'll
Okay.
give my email address and also my phone number because I don't mind. My phone number is 708-745-2703. Email address is tdavis, E as in Edward, 1@gmail.com.
Okay, and then I'm also going to post this recording on YouTube, and then I'm going to put your contact information on there as well. But still, Cass and Kim, if
Thank
you
you.
could leave your contact information, please go ahead, Cass.
Sure. My Instagram, my IG is mrs.c.l.reed. That's how you can find me on Instagram. So yeah, Mrs. as you can see, Mrs. C. Yeah. And
Yes, what's the name of your book again? Someone is asking online the name of your book.
Making faith moves no matter what.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that.
It's set to be released when?
By next month. No later than November, she said. So by next month.
Okay, great. All right. So we're gonna keep following and keep staying in support of you and your writing journey and your release of the book. I am so excited for you.
Thank you so much, you guys. And my email is Cassandra Reed, first and last name, spelled Cassandra, Reed, REED, 60411 at hotmail.com.
Awesome.
I'm still on Hotmail.
That's definitely an old account.
Yes, it is. I got Gmail accounts and everything, but that one is Old Faithful. I'm like,
Yes.
Thanks, Cass. And then
Thank
last
you, guys.
but not least, Miss Kim, give us your handles, please.
Absolutely. I am Crowned to Care, CROWNED,
Okay.
Oh, I love that.
Care.
Me too.
That's
I
the
love
name
it
of
too.
it's the name of my business, Crowned to Care. And
Okay.
again, you guys, I serve caregivers. I know it's a unique niche, but it's what I'm called.
It is.
It's what I'm purposed to
I
do.
love that.
Yeah.
I gave my husband a trip to Mexico after chemo because he became my caregiver.
Wow.
Yep.
So that was me
Wow.
giving back, like, because I know.
Yes. It is. It is a heavy lift, and it's a
Yeah.
very sacred call, though. It's very
Mhm.
sacred. And
Mhm.
Kim,
God bless you.
how can we buy the book or find the book?
so the book will be released, hopefully. I'm pushing for September 28th, y'all, because that's my day. Tracy, you know,
Okay.
we're right close together there with our birthdays, but it may
Okay.
end up being the first week of October. But you guys, it has been in a holding pattern. I have not had the release to land the plane. And so
Okay.
if you know anything about it, the process is what it is.
The
Okay.
process is the
That's it.
process.
Okay. And it's different strokes for different folks, but
That's
what
right.
I
But
realize
I
is
will be
that
buying your book, your
Thank you
your
so
oh,
much.
your first
I'll be
one
buying
and this
both.
one.
Thank you so much. I definitely will buy yours as well, Cassandra.
Thank
But
you.
what I realize is that some of the things that have happened, like my son's major seizure
Mm-hmm.
happened about 3, 4 weeks ago, that needed to be in the book.
Mm-hmm.
That needed to, because that
I
was a
get that.
real challenge. That was a
I
real
get that.
challenge.
Yeah.
And you know, we'll talk about that challenge for me, the oppositions and all that stuff a later date. But that was something that I realized after it happened.
How old is he, Kim?
He's 25.
Okay.
Oh.
Oh, my son is 27.
Wow. Wow.
If you get
Yeah.
those signs to say that it's not time to release this book yet, you got to do this, you got to do this first, then because you don't want to release the book without regret.
Nope.
You know,
Absolutely.
you don't
Yeah.
want to have to do second edition and
Nope.
third edition.
Nope.
You know,
If I do, it'll be because it is additional. It'll be volume 2. It'll be volume 3.
Mhm.
That's right.
I realized that one thing for sure had to happen. And what I didn't tell you guys is about my sister, who has been out of the loop for the last 4 months now. She has been a very critical part of my caregiver team since my husband passed 10, 11 years ago. So she gave a leave of absence at the beginning of the summer because she had some personal issues. And she has been out of the loop since I started writing the book. So just I mean, it's like I had to be first partaker of what I'm telling my people to do. Put on your own oxygen mask first. I had to show up. You know, I had to show up even in a better way, which means I had to work on Kim in the wee hours and then dig in and put on my caregiver hat and then write a book and stay in the coaching club. And, you know, it's like life still goes on.
Juggling.
Are you serious, guy? Are you serious?
Maybe we come back and do a part 2 because
We got to.
yeah,
We have to.
lots
Because
to
I plan on
unpack.
doing a children's book about my sons.
So lots to unpack, and I would be honored to have you ladies back with me on my book tour.
Yeah.
So we'll be talking later after this.
Tracy, it's our honor. Honestly,
It
it's
really
our
is.
honor. Please,
It was
please
an
know
honor.
that it is my
It really
honor.
is.
It's our
Definitely
honor.
our
really
honor.
You have set
Yeah.
the standard in so many ways,
In
and
so many
you
ways.
really are. I mean, it's a hallmark for all of
Soda.
us. It's a
Innovative.
hallmark. Yeah,
And
it
thank
really
you,
is. We
Tracy, for
appreciate
being
you. We
obedient.
appreciate you, Tracy.
You know,
Visionary.
I'm not out here doing it by myself. You know, I got a whole tribe. I have a very supportive family.
Yes.
I can't do this by myself.
Not one of us can do what all of us can do.
No.
Exactly
No.
right. So that's why I need you ladies. So I feel the same for you as you were saying you feel for me. And we're in this together. Like you said, I feel like hugging Elaine. I feel like a
Yes.
whole group of them. And
Yes.
then
Yes.
and we hold hands in a circle and just keep inspiring and motivating,
Yes.
encouraging. We could take this on the road.
Absolutely.
We can.
Absolutely.
We really
Iron
can.
sharpens iron.
Iron
I'm ready.
sharpens iron. You took the words right out of my mouth. Absolutely.
So thank
Absolutely.
you, ladies, so much.
Thank
And
you, ladies, so much.
Thank you
Thank
all.
you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody out in cyber world for joining
Yes.
us and listening in. And
Yes.
this will be recorded and posted on YouTube. I'll be posting the links.
Good.
And I appreciate
So I can share.
you so much for joining me. I love you, each of
We
you,
love you, Tracy.
so much.
Yeah. Love
I
you
love
back.
you, Tracy. And
Yes.
thank you, ladies, so much. Tracy,
Yes.
thank you for being obedient to the
Yes.
Lord, because He has you doing this.
Yeah.
Because
No,
so
I
many of
have
us.
no idea
This is
what I'm
divine.
doing.
It's
I have no
divine.
idea what I'm doing.
He qualifies
Yes.
though who he calls.
Yeah.
He qualifies who he calls.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
So you ladies have an excellent evening and week on purpose.
Yes,
Yeah.
You too.
Thank you,
you.
ladies.
Nothing but love.
Bye.
Thank you all. Thank you.